Well, yippee ki ho ho ho, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And today, on December 1st, I got the privilege of seeing Violent Night, starring David Harbour. When I first saw this trailer, I think back during, I think I saw the trailer for this movie back when I first saw Halloween Ends. But I remember seeing it at some point, and it instantly became part of my Christmas list to watch this movie. So, on the first day of Christmas, Santa gave to me a very violent and gory movie. So, I guess to start off, this movie was great. Honestly, I think it's way better than I initially thought it would be. Like, I thought it was just gonna be like a dumb, fun, like rated R Christmas movie, right? Like basically a hard R, Die Hard, but if Bruce Willis's character was actually Santa, right? They even referenced Die Hard at one point. But David Harbour is great as Santa Claus, Saint Nick. And we kind of see a side of him that we don't usually see. And I'm not talking about like a version of Santa like who's a fighter and like is violent, because like even in that one kids movie, Rise of the Guardians, like we've seen Santa like be like a Russian fighter guy who like carries swords with him. But what I mean is, like, I think, at least I don't think I've seen this version of Santa before, where, like, not only is, like, he incredibly violent and swears all the time, but he also kind of, like, loses the magic of being Santa Claus, right? Or, like, there's this running theme in the movie about, like, believing in Santa. Because the movie starts out where, like, not even he, like, kind of believes in himself or, like, believes in Christmas. And I think it's subtly shown at some points in the movie where, like, so one of the things about Santa in this movie is that the way he, like, goes up the chimney, where, like, he taps his nose and, like, goes up is, like, he actually, like, dissolves into, like, Christmas magic or snow or whatever, and just goes up the chimney, kind of like that. And there's actually a few times, like, at the beginning of the film where, like, he tries to do that, but it doesn't work. And I think that was a subtle way of showing that, like, even Santa himself, like, he started to not believe in, like, the magic of Christmas anymore, because he starts off spouting about how, like, kids don't believe in Santa, they just want, like, the next thing and everything. Like, it was a bit of a commentary on, like, consumerism, which, funny enough, like, we just finished with Black Friday, so appropriate time to talk about that. But basically the whole running theme is about, like, believing in Santa and, like, you know, not being on the naughty list. But I think just that thing alone just made the whole movie, like, better than it had any right to be. Because, again, I thought, like, it was just going to be, like, just, like, a dumb, fun, violent Santa Claus film. But ended up having some heart to it. Aside from David Harbour, like, pretty much the only other, like, really big actor, John Leguizamo, like, he does great as basically, like, calling himself, like, he calls himself Mr. Scrooge, but his real name is Jimmy Hernandez, I think it was. And, like, his motivation for, like, for basically hating Christmas is a little bit believable, where, like, his family was just too poor, and one night he tried to steal Christmas from his rich neighbors, and, like, he accidentally killed their grandfather, you know, that kind of thing. But he was a really fun villain, especially with all, like, the Christmas jokes and stuff. His henchmen were great. Like, There's one of his guys who's codenamed Krampus, who honestly I think he was one of the best actors in the movie. Not including David Harbour, John Leguizamo, of course, but like I don't know who plays Krampus at like I can't remember his name at the moment, but like he just chews up the scenery basically in every scene he's in. Like it was obvious that like the cast had a lot of fun with this film, which is great. But like especially the Krampus guy, where like he basically plays a sadist who enjoys torturing people, and like it was clear that the actor had fun in the role, so that was great. The only other like big named actor that I could think that I recognized was Alex Haskell, I think his name is, or Haskell. He played like the main father, Jason Whitehouse. I think that's what their names are. And I actually had to look him up first because like I recognized him from somewhere. But when I looked him up, I instantly recognized him as playing Translucent from The Boys, where like he was in the first 2 episodes, got blown up by gang, C4 shoved up his ass. That guy. So that guy did great as like his whole character is like he wants to get out of like he wants to get out from under his like mother's thumb, where like so the whole plot revolves around basically Jason and his family are seeing their rich grandmother and snotty relatives for Christmas, and at the same time Santa's delivering presents, and at the same time that Santa gets to like the grandmother's house, that's when like John Leguizamo and his gang just like break in and basically hold the family hostage because they want like all the money in the safe, right? So like it really is basically like Die Hard, but if Bruce Willis was actually Santa. So that's basically the whole movie, where where the actual Santa is roped into saving the family on Christmas Eve. There's really not much that I can really say about this film, because like that's the entire plot. Like Santa is just saving the family, while at the same time Jason is trying to like reignite that spark with his wife and his kid, while also trying to get out from under his mother's thumb. So the action was great. I do kind of wish that I didn't use like as many cuts as it did, and maybe that's just my fault for like watching John Wick a lot. But at one point I was thinking like, man, John Leguizamo like worked on the first 2 John Wick films. Like he couldn't make a suggestion like, hey, maybe make these shots longer to make the action look cooler. Like we see in those movies, Keanu Reeves like basically doing long takes of fighting people, but we see like Santa Claus beating people up with a sledgehammer, which by the way, he has a sledgehammer in this film that he just beats the shit out of like all the bad guys on the naughty list. But they do like 30 different jump cuts basically every time they hit somebody, and sometimes you can barely see what's going on. And that was only one of the things I didn't really like about film. There's another nitpick that I have where, like, weirdly enough, I really only started noticing this ever since I watched the movie Swordfish, like, a few years back. That one movie with John Travolta, Halle Berry, and Hugh Jackman, where, like, at the very beginning, John Travolta is talking about how, like, how one of his favorite movies is Dog Day Afternoon, But the one gripe he had is that the bad guys took too long to kill hostages, because if they start like killing hostages like basically like right away, then they will have gotten the money and they will have gotten away and like all that stuff. So maybe this is just my own nitpick just because I watched a different movie, but personally I think that if like John Leguizamo and like the other guys, if they start killing hostages like right away, then they probably will have gotten the money and they probably would have like gotten away with it too. But they waited too long, and I do get that like that they had to wait for like the extraction team to show up and like betray the mother, the grandmother, I mean, to get that skeleton key. But I don't know, I feel like at least like the Krampus character probably would have started killing hostages just for the fun of it. But maybe that's just me. The kills were great in the movie. Like I was expecting it just to be like an action movie, but like there were some kills that were basically like it was almost like they were taking a page out of like slasher films, where like they had like all these unique and fun ways to kill people. Like at one point, Santa Claus shanks a bunch of dudes with a candy cane. He like wraps a cord around two guys and then like pushes them into like a snowblower. There's one where like he uses where he takes like these ice skates and uses them as bladed gauntlets. And one of the cooler ones that showed up in actually showed up in the trailer was that he sticks like a star ornament that you put on top of a tree. Like he sticks it in a dude's eye and then plugs it into an outlet, and like it electrocutes the guy's skull, and then it just lights his head on fire. Like that was a cool one. There is one sequence where like where Jason's daughter Trudy, she sets up these booby traps like exactly like Home Alone. They even like name drop it several times. Where you know that scene in the Home Alone movie where like Marv steps on a nail? Well, so they show like the R-rated version of that in this film. Like basically like if Home Alone was rated R, like that's what they do in this movie, where this one guy is like a nail goes through his jaw, and then when he falls, like he gets impaled on his back by all these other nails and a razor blade. And then like when he finally starts to pull one of the nails out, he gets hit by a bowling ball that Trudy pushes down from the attic, and it goes right into his forehead. Like, I mean, maybe this is just me, but like I kind of paid to see a whole movie like that, where like they remake Home Alone but make it rated R. I mean, I doubt they do that, since Home Alone I think is now owned by Disney, but it would still be cool to see. But anyway, and there are a few other really cool kills, like hell, even with John Leguizamo's character, like his death at the very end, like is honestly one of the cooler kills that I've seen. Like where remember what I said about like Santa Claus like tapping his nose and like going up the chimney? Well, he kills John Leguizamo by doing that, but he's holding on to like Leguizamo's Scrooge while he's doing it, where like he's too big to go up the chimney, so it literally forces his body up, and I think just because of the sheer force, it basically crushes his body, and I think crushes his head and legs as he goes up. And like once Santa reaches the top, it just starts raining blood. It's kind of like it's almost like the reverse Freddy Krueger killing Johnny Depp in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, not even just the reverse of it. Like, it basically is Freddy Krueger killing Johnny Depp, like with that blood geyser. Except instead of like it shooting out of a bed, it's a chimney. Aside from that, like the comedy was great, the music was great. Like the few times that they sang Christmas songs, I was actually singing along with it. But right, this movie was just fun, and it actually had some pretty cool moments. Oh, and there is one last thing that that's a little bit of a nitpick, where like there were a couple moments where they explain like this version of Santa's backstory, where he was like some Viking warrior or knight or whatever. They don't exactly explain it too much, but judging by the helmet, I think he was a Viking, where I think he said he was called like Nicodeme the Red, and he was well over 1,000 years old. Like they even show a flashback of him like as like that warrior character, and he has like this huge sledgehammer called Skull Crusher, like a war hammer. And he taught, and like, you know, he tells Trudy over the walkie-talkie, which another great callback to Die Hard. He's talking with Trudy about how, like, that's what he was called back in the day. Like, if there was a naughty list back then, he would have been at the top. But he also doesn't really explain like how he became Santa, right? Like, I think that would have been like a huge. I think that would have been like a huge plot point that they kind of didn't explain much, you know. Like, I mean, he said himself he would have been at the top of the naughty list if it existed. So why didn't they say like how he became Santa in the first place? Because the movie does show that like that this version of Santa, like, he isn't immortal, or at least like he's immortal, but like in the way of like the elves are in Lord of the Rings, where he can't die of old age or something. But like he can still get hurt, he can still get injured, and like he can definitely die. But they don't really kind of say like he can't die of natural causes, I don't think. But they never explain like how he became like Santa Claus in the first place. And I think that it could have been like just a short like 10-second line of dialogue where he says like, I was at the top of the naughty list, and like once I finally got taken down, like died in battle or something like that, and I went to hell, or before he went to hell, like he was offered a choice by an angel or whoever, like to redeem himself by becoming Santa Claus and delivering presents to like all the good kids, or I don't know, maybe he went to hell or something and like he got cursed to do that stuff, but after a while he started to enjoy it, and then after a longer while he started to just not believe in like the whole Christmas magic anymore, because even Santa says himself that like he doesn't know like how the whole Christmas magic thing, how the whole thing works. Like, he said that he had been with Mrs. Claus for, I think, 1,100 years, so he's at least that old, and he still doesn't know how the Christmas magic works, right? So, I don't know. I think it's maybe it's a nitpick, maybe it's a plot hole, or whatever you want to call it, but like I think they should have explained, like, how he became Santa Claus in the first place. Especially since, like, the flashbacks show that he was, like, some kind of Viking warrior or whatever. But other than that, the movie was great. I mean, I highly recommend you guys see it, because, like, Santa Claus in this is basically like John McClane from Die Hard with a little bit of John Wick and a slight dash of Michael Myers, just because of how unique the kills are in this movie. But other than that, that's really it for me. Great way to kick off the month of December. So, hope you guys all stay on the nice list, or Santa's gonna get a lump of coin, he's gonna stick it right up your ass. Merry Christmas, guys. Bye.